The wind whispers across ancient stones, carrying secrets of a time before written words. It's a landscape that begs questions about beginnings, about how we came to be. For millennia, humanity has wrestled with this fundamental inquiry. Where did we truly come from? This isn't just an academic puzzle. It's at the core of our beliefs, shaping our understanding of life itself. The Fertile Crescent, a sliver of land cradled between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, stands as a silent witness to the dawn of civilization. Before empires rose and fell, before kingdoms carved their names into stone, there existed communities grappling with basic survival, organizing themselves around agriculture and building rudimentary settlements. Imagine small villages clustered around nascent farms, already establishing patterns of social interaction, resource management, a far cry from the vast societies we recognize today. But these early settlements hold a profound secret. Just beneath the surface of dusty soil lie glimpses into a past even more complex than initially imagined. Göbekli Tepe, in southeastern Turkey, is a breathtaking testament to this fact. A collection of monumental stone pillars adorned with intricate animal carvings, dating back nearly 12,000 years. It predates pottery and agriculture itself. It challenges our assumptions about when humans began developing sophisticated social structures and symbolic thought. These sites aren't just archaeological digs. They're echoes of a time before written records, whispering stories through stone and bone. They suggest humanity wasn't simply reacting to the environment. We were actively shaping it, constructing elaborate rituals and systems that reflect deeper needs and beliefs. Consider the sheer scale of Göbekli Tepe. This demands an explanation for its creation. Now let's turn our gaze eastward to Mesopotamia, the land between two rivers. Here, amongst the ruins of ancient cities like Babylon and Ur, we encounter a different kind of story, the Epic of Gilgamesh, one of the oldest surviving works of literature. Within it lie echoes of familiar themes, flood narratives, heroic figures, and a struggle to understand our place in the cosmos. Then there's Egypt, land of pharaohs and pyramids, where creation myths intertwined with powerful religious beliefs. The Egyptians believed that life sprung forth from primordial waters, a watery abyss from which all things emerged. And like the Mesopotamians, they envisioned a divine pair, male and female, responsible for shaping the world and establishing order. These aren't isolated tales. They're threads woven into a larger tapestry of human thought. Across continents and millennia, similar narratives, the desire to explain the origin of all things, the separation of light from darkness, the emergence of humankind, persist. Could there be a common root, a shared impulse driving these diverse creation stories? It's tempting to view these myths as simple explanations for complex phenomena, tales designed to comfort and guide. But they also reveal something profound about human nature, our inherent need to find meaning in the universe, to understand our origins, and to grapple with questions that transcend the practicalities of daily life. And while we may never fully unravel the mysteries of the past, exploring these narratives offers a fascinating window into the minds of those who came before us. The questions linger, don't they? If these ancient narratives, the flood stories, the divine pairings, are echoes of something real, what exactly do they reflect? It's a subtle shift in perspective needed. Instead of seeking definitive proof of Adam and Eve as literal figures, consider the possibility that the narrative captures elements of a very early human experience. Imagine a world drastically different from our own, a landscape ravaged by catastrophic floods, a climate far more volatile than today, and limited resources demanding innovative solutions for survival. The need to establish order amidst chaos, to create boundaries, to define roles, to build communities, would have been paramount. Perhaps the story of creation isn't about a single event, but about a process. The gradual formation of social structures and belief systems in response to extraordinary circumstances. Scientific research increasingly points toward a period of intense environmental upheaval. During the early Neolithic era, a Younger Dryas event that triggered widespread floods, droughts, and migrations. This instability could have profoundly shaped human psychology, fostering a sense of vulnerability and a yearning for stability, a desire to establish clear rules and boundaries within their communities. It's tempting to view these early societies as primitive, lacking the sophisticated understanding we possess today. But they were remarkably inventive. They developed agriculture, building monumental structures, creating intricate art forms, all driven by a fundamental need to adapt and thrive in a challenging environment. The Genesis narrative could be seen not as a rejection of this reality, but as an attempt to articulate it, to provide a framework for understanding the world around them. Consider the concept of pair bonding, the establishment of male and female relationships that led to procreation and the formation of families. This isn't merely a biological imperative. It's a deeply ingrained social structure, evident in countless cultures throughout history. The Genesis story's emphasis on male and female might reflect this fundamental aspect of early human society, a recognition of the essential role of partnership in ensuring survival and continuity. Yet, even with these insights, significant gaps remain. Archaeological evidence is fragmentary. We lack definitive proof of a single catastrophic flood or a universally shared set of beliefs. The story as it's presented in Genesis, with its specific details about Adam and Eve, feels almost idealized. It's a narrative crafted over centuries, shaped by theological interpretation and cultural influences. Perhaps the true value of this story lies not in its historical accuracy, but in its enduring power to inspire reflection. It asks us to confront fundamental questions about our origins, our relationship with nature, and our responsibility to create a better future for ourselves and generations to come. It's a timeless tale, resonating across cultures and time periods because it speaks to something deeply rooted within the human spirit. The persistent questions swirl. If not a literal account, what is the purpose of this foundational narrative? It's easy to dismiss it as mere myth, a comforting tale, spun from ancient fears and aspirations. But dismissing it so readily risks overlooking its profound influence on Western thought and morality. Consider the concept of original sin, the belief that humanity is inherently flawed, burdened by a transgression against divine law. This idea, deeply embedded in Christian theology, stems directly from the story of Adam and Eve's disobedience. It shapes our understanding of human nature, a tendency towards selfishness, imperfection, and a need for redemption. However, interpreting this solely as a condemnation overlooks its potential to highlight humanity's capacity for both good and bad. The act of disobedience wasn't simply an evil deed. It was a pivotal moment, an acknowledgement of our vulnerability, and a recognition that we are capable of choosing between righteousness and wrong. It marks the beginning of our journey toward moral awareness, even if that journey is fraught with struggle. Moving beyond the theological implications, the narrative also resonates as a powerful metaphor for human experience. The Garden of Eden represents a state of innocence, a time before hardship, suffering, and loss. It's a yearning for simplicity, for connection to nature, and for a world untouched by corruption. This desire for an original state, a return to a perceived golden age, is a recurring theme throughout history and across cultures. Furthermore, the story raises crucial questions about free will versus determinism. Did Adam and Eve truly possess the freedom to choose between obedience and disobedience, or were they trapped by circumstances beyond their control? The narrative's ambiguity forces us to confront our own beliefs about agency and responsibility. Are we shaped solely by our genes and environment, or do we retain genuine autonomy? It's important to acknowledge that interpretations of this story have evolved, from early patristic writings emphasizing literal interpretation, to modern theological perspectives prioritizing symbolic meaning. The Genesis narrative has been consistently reinterpreted through changing lenses. This ongoing dialogue reflects humanity's persistent need to grapple with complex ideas and find new ways of understanding our place in the cosmos. Ultimately, the story of Adam and Eve isn't about a specific historical event. It's about exploring fundamental aspects of the human condition, our capacity for both great good and profound error, our yearning for meaning and purpose, and our ongoing struggle to reconcile faith with reason. It's a narrative that invites us not to find definitive answers, but to continue asking questions, to engage in a lifelong journey of intellectual and spiritual exploration. The echoes of past interpretations linger, a testament to humanity's enduring need to find meaning within narratives, regardless of their historical veracity. But if we step back and truly examine the core elements of the Genesis story, a different kind of resonance emerges, not as a record of events, but as a powerful framework for understanding moral responsibility and the nature of human existence. Consider the concept of creation itself. It's not simply about bringing something into being. It's about ordering that creation, establishing rules, boundaries, and relationships. The story of Adam and Eve reflects this fundamental impulse to impose structure on a chaotic world, to define what is right and wrong, and to create a system for maintaining order within human society. This isn't necessarily a process driven by divine decree. However, it's equally plausible that the initial social structures, the family unit, the rules of reciprocity, the division of labor, emerged organically from the practical necessities of survival. The story could then be viewed as an early attempt to articulate these fundamental principles, a way of making sense of human relationships and social dynamics. And what about the act of naming? Assigning names to things, to animals, to landscapes, even to one another, was a crucial step in establishing control and understanding. It's a deeply symbolic gesture, a recognition of our agency to shape the world around us and imbue it with meaning. The naming of Adam and Eve represents not just an identification, but a bestowal of responsibility. They are given dominion over creation, charged with the task of managing its resources and ensuring its well-being. The story's enduring power lies in its ability to provoke uncomfortable questions about human nature. It forces us to confront our own capacity for both altruism and self-interest, for compassion and cruelty. The narrative doesn't offer easy answers. Instead, it presents a complex portrait of humanity, capable of extraordinary beauty and profound darkness. Yet, perhaps the most significant takeaway isn't the specific details of the story, but its underlying message, that our choices have consequences. Adam and Eve's transgression wasn't simply an act of disobedience. It was a moment of self-awareness, a recognition that their actions had far-reaching implications for themselves and for all subsequent generations. Ultimately, the Genesis narrative serves as a timeless reminder that we are not merely passive observers in the world, but active participants, each responsible for shaping our own destiny and the future of humanity. It's a call to embrace our agency, to confront our shortcomings, and to strive toward a more just and compassionate world, a legacy that transcends any single historical account. The journey through ancient narratives and philosophical inquiries culminates not in definitive answers, but in a deeper appreciation for the enduring questions that shape our understanding of existence. The story of Adam and Eve isn't a puzzle to be solved. It's a mirror reflecting humanity's persistent search for meaning, a quest as old as consciousness itself. If we discard the literal interpretation, what remains? Perhaps the core of the narrative lies in its exploration of fundamental human experiences, vulnerability, responsibility, and the inherent tension between our desires and our moral compass. The Garden of Eden represents a state of blissful innocence, a time before hardship and loss, a longing that resonates deeply within us all. Yet it's precisely this loss, this separation from paradise, that fuels our striving, our ambition, and our relentless pursuit of improvement. It is through confronting challenges, overcoming obstacles, and grappling with the consequences of our actions that we ultimately define ourselves as human beings. The narrative doesn't condemn disobedience. Rather, it highlights its transformative power. The act of choosing between obedience and transgression marks a pivotal moment, an acknowledgement of our free will and our capacity for both good and evil. It's within this tension, this constant negotiation between instinct and reason, that we discover our true selves. Consider the concept of redemption. The idea that even after making mistakes, we have the potential to change course, to learn from our errors, and to strive toward a more virtuous existence. The Genesis story provides a framework for understanding this process, a journey of repentance, forgiveness, and ultimately transformation. Ultimately, the enduring power of the narrative resides not in its historical accuracy, but in its ability to provoke reflection on timeless themes, the nature of morality, the meaning of human purpose, and the responsibility we bear for shaping our own destinies. It's a story that challenges us to confront our own imperfections, embrace our capacity for growth, and strive toward a more compassionate world. A legacy built not on dogma, but on thoughtful inquiry. Let your own questions guide you. Continue exploring these profound ideas, engaging in respectful dialogue, and seeking truth through critical thinking and open-mindedness. The search itself is the reward, the journey of understanding a lifelong pursuit. This video has come to an end, but the discovery continues. Check out more content on the channel and subscribe so you don't miss what's next. Thank you for watching.